Huh?
He's moving the mouse right now. Okay.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
Wait. Okay. Okay, we're on now, right?
We are?
This is going to be the regular council meeting. It's May the 19th, and it is 6:03 p.m.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6:05 p.m., and I would like to call this meeting to order. It's May 19th, 2022. And I would, first of all, establish our quorum. We do have a quorum in the room. Councilman Warren could not be with us this evening, but the rest of the council is present. And I have asked our city attorney, Brad Elrod, to please lead us in an invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
If you'll pray with me. Dear Lord, we're thankful for today, thankful for another chance to just gather here together amongst friends and neighbors. There's much to be grateful for, and we give you thanks for that. We just ask for your guidance on this meeting. Please give the council and those who have been given the authority and the responsibility of leading the city discernment to make good decisions, Your Honor. Sorry, I was in court today. So, and we say a special prayer for Jackie Black, one of our city employees, as she's going through some health issues. We ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Did anyone sign up communications from the audience? We have none. Okay, moving right along, the consent agenda items. Is there anyone that would like anything removed from the consent agenda?
Yeah.
Let's see, the April 28th special meeting minutes.
The April 28th special meeting minutes. Okay. Other than that, anything else to be removed from the consent agenda? If not, is there any objection to the adoption of the consent agenda? There being none, it is adopted. On to our regular council agenda. We did get a report on our certified values, and the reason I put this first on the agenda was because we were hoping that David Luther, our county appraiser, could be here this evening, but he wasn't able to make it tonight. He'll be here later, but he did send us the certified estimates of taxable value.
Got it.
And basically, Ivanhoe is basically the same value as last year. They haven't done reevaluations this year of property. They were catching up the past few years, and this year they did not do any reevaluating. So we're at $84,995,604. The interesting thing is, today this is David Luther's when he sent it. Today I certified preliminary estimates of taxable value for the 2022 tax year. The certifications were mailed to you attached to this email. This year marks the 40th year I have made estimates and or provided actual certified values. I have never squirmed and worried so much over providing an estimate as I have this year. There are a number of reasons for this uncertainty. The real estate market, we all know it's absolutely crazy, and where values are this year compared to last year, it's crazy. The soaring land prices, the unbelievable housing market activity, people paying more than asking prices, people paying more than lender appraisals, and the May 7th election on the increased homestead exemption. So how this is all going to affect us and the appraised value, like I say, this is his 40th year and the first time he's felt nervous about it. So. But that's where we are right now. Next on the agenda is a presentation from our delinquent tax attorney, Mr. James Guest from Linebarger. And James is a great friend of ours, and he's going to kind of inform us about what's going on and what the procedure is as far as tax foreclosures. And Linebarger is the one that handles all of this for Tyler County and for us, of course.
Thank you, Mayor, for having me on the agenda again tonight. I'm very glad to be here with all of you. And Mr. Elrod, I think your honor to God, I mean, he's the ultimate judge. I think that is proper to say that. So, but today I have handed out our last year's delinquent collection report from September 1st of 20 through August 31st of 21. And the report is kind of goes through the progress of how delinquent taxes work and kind of what our the procedure of escalation through litigation. But of course, that a robust collection always starts with the mailings. The mailings generate the most feedback from the community. We mail 5 times a year on every single account. Doesn't matter if it's a penny or 10,000, or $10 million. We're mailing on every single account, and every single letter throughout the year does step up in its tone. We were very strategic in the accounts that we do pursue for litigation, but I'll get into a little bit of that more here in a few minutes. But so last year we sent a total about a little over 4,000 letters, and of course these are all costs that are assumed by our law firm, and our fees are paid by the delinquent taxpayers. And there's a few benefits to that. One, it's a zero cost to the city for us to collect. And number two, I can spend personally as much time with each taxpayer as they need to understand the remedies available to them. And there's a lot of help out there right now. In fact, I would like to mention here in the meeting today that the TDHCA, Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs, has asked our law firm to partner with them to get out the information to our clients. In particular, here in Tyler County, we had a mailing of federal grant money that is available to taxpayers. So letters should have been received by everyone in the county, all taxpayers, giving information on how they can qualify and obtain more information to pay delinquent taxes and so forth.
So you sent those letters out already?
We did send them out a few weeks ago. Yes, ma'am. And Tyler County has benefited as of last week. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but I was very excited. Between $15,000 and $20,000, so the word is getting out.
Right.
And within Tyler County, it is being utilized. So there's more information about that, and if I can be of help to help guide anyone to receive more information, I'd be more than willing to willing to do that.
I was telling James prior to this, we got the email too about this funds being available to offer services, on site to people. And I responded, I called to get information about it or emailed to get information, but then it looked like it really needed to be a larger entity. And so I responded that I really appreciated the information. I thought maybe if we could do it at the county level. I'm glad to hear that you're doing it because it's providing a service for these people that have had trouble during COVID, keeping up with their taxes and mortgages and whatever.
And at first it was a blanket, anyone with delinquent taxes, mortgages, and so forth. But because there's been so much, there's been a lot of people that have applied. They've narrowed it down to the last few years and so forth. So the program is changing a little bit to gear towards more COVID relief, but there is that help available. And then once our mailings, if they do not produce results on targeted accounts, then we will, to maximize our collections on behalf of the city. We do have a delinquent tax roll analysis, and we go after those accounts to maximize our efforts. And so last year, if you turn your page, we have 2 suits currently that are pending awaiting service. We're working on 69 current open lawsuits. We held 3 tax sales that included properties from 9 suits. There were 12 offered. We did take 1 judgment. And I would like to hit on that just very briefly. That's been very difficult the last 2 years to have dockets, delinquent tax dockets here in Tyler County. The district judge, Judge Stover, has been, we haven't had the same docket since, I guess the same amount of dockets since before COVID. He has tried some Zoom hearings, but it has been fairly difficult to really set some of these cases. I was hoping that we would be able to file some tax warrants to kind of expedite the collections here, because there are so many wonderful properties within Ivanhoe that I believe would be, amazing properties to own. We just need to clean it up. We need to get it sold to the right person. But unfortunately, the district judge will not sign tax warrants. He has refused. I've approached him several times. I even offered to write a brief for him, over the Christmas break, which he said that that was not going to be necessary. But so we are back to filing taxes. The one warrant I was trying to push through the system several months ago, we did amended petition, and we were hoping to get that in our July hearing. We're waiting on one more person. This is the property. I don't remember the exact location, but I have the case file here. That's been kind of a very hot topic. There's been a squatter in this particular location.
This is the one that on Lakeview Circle.
There's been,
Or
yes,
Lake-
yes,
yeah.
that's right, yes, ma'am. And there's been, I guess, fires have been set over there here recently. It's become a real problem. So we are very aware, and we know that that this matter is urgent, and so we are doing everything we can to obtain a judgment and then take it to a tax sale. So, and I'm sure you may have questions about those different lots at some point tonight. If I speak with Mayor Bennett quite a bit. She stays on top of us to make sure that we are following the process and trying to get these properties either a judgment and sold. So she's really been working overtime with our office, and I really appreciate all of your support and diligence, because it's your feedback that helps us be successful. If you look at the bottom of this page, it has our collections. It's been a little undulating the last few years. Last year, we saw a huge uptick in collections. A lot of that is due to not only values increasing, but also there's been a lot of stimulus money for COVID relief. And so we've seen an uptick throughout all of East Texas with people taking advantage and paying their taxes with the money that's been available. And if you'll turn the page, there's two pie charts here, and this is basically really the status of your delinquent tax roll. This top pie chart is a tax roll broken down by dollar amount. The vast majority of the taxes owed to the city of Ivanhoe, almost, over 50%, almost 60%, are within that $100 to $500 range. You have zero accounts over the $10,000 range. So I was kind of surprised to see that, because usually there's two other criteria here, over 10,000 and then over 25,000, but you had neither of those on your current existing roll. But when we file a lawsuit, it typically will add an additional $1,500 to the taxpayer, because that will be included at either the sale, or if they're trying to settle with us in order to avoid foreclosure. So we're very conscientious of what is equitable for the taxpayers. We're not going to file a suit on a $50 account, but we will mail 5 letters a year to those accounts to make sure, and reach out by phone call if they're reaching out trying to get information on how to settle the tax liability. At the bottom, you have your status of accounts. And so a lot of times people think that, with the delinquent tax roll, just file lawsuits on all of these accounts, but not all the money is available today. Some of this money will not be available until the future, although it is showing up on your delinquent tax roll now. And just 2 of those subcategories would include bankruptcy. You had under 1% of your delinquent tax roll in bankruptcy, but also deferrals. You have nearly 20% of your tax roll in deferrals. So that's money that we're not allowed to collect now, but at some point in the future that will be available, and we take great care to monitor the rolls. If we see that there's been a deferral for 20 plus years, we're doing investigation into those matters. 10% of your roll currently is under litigation. Almost 40% is return mail. That's a very high number, but those are defendants that we're having, that we're mailing out on, we're getting, and those are becoming back to us undeliverable. So we were talking people who have deceased or abandoned properties. And so that's really what ties up a lot of our litigation, in that we are trying to locate the defendants, to bring them to court so that we can sell their properties free and clear of all liens and future interests. But I am very excited. I think that we have some good plans, especially here. We started selling properties, struck off properties even at public auctions. And so we're seeing an increase in the revenue that's coming in from even excess proceeds. So there's a lot of interest in Tyler County right now, and our tax sales are growing. And then in conclusion, it's hard to quantify all the work that goes into the day-to-day communication with all the taxpayers, but we have a great relationship with county government, and then of course, we have represented the city for many, many years, and we appreciate your business, and I'm always available if anyone has questions, or there's a certain account that you'd like us to target specifically to try to clean up. It may not be on our radar as far as litigation, but there's a property that's abandoned. We need your feedback to identify those, since you're here on the ground. So this is definitely a partnership. It's not just the attorney-client partnership here is essential to our success. And with that, I also wanted to last year, the turnover, just real quickly on how the life cycle of taxes and how our law firm gets involved is on January 1st of any year. We'll start with last year, and this is just very briefly description of life cycle of taxes. January 1st of 2020, a lien is placed on all property, personal and real, within the county, unless there's an exemption. There is a lien that's valued by the appraisal district, and that's what you were mentioning earlier, was the value here in Ivanhoe. The appraisal district will mail their letters of appraised value, but sometime in April, May. You have a very limited time, usually I think it's 60 days towards the end of May, I believe, to file your protest with the appraisal district if you want to contest those values. Once those protests have been completed, at the end of July is when the appraisal district will then certify the appraisal roll. The appraisal roll will then go to the tax office. The tax office will certify the tax roll, and then bills will go out in October. So October 2020, the bills went out to all property owners, real and personal. And the bill is due, in the majority of cases, no later than January 31st. On February 1st, of course, there's always exceptions to the rules here, but the vast majority of taxes, 99%, will become delinquent on February 1st. And on February 1st, a 7% penalty and interest automatically hits those accounts. And then every month through June, at the first of the month, 2% of 1% penalty, 1% interest will attach to those accounts. And then in June, an additional penalty, and that's our attorney's fees, will hit those accounts. And so that is a 20% that is added additionally to in July. And so we are always directing people to pay their current years first in order to avoid having to pay those extremely high fees, because the older years have already incurred that. And then after July, when that large penalty hits, then in perpetuity, every month, the accounts will accrue 1% a month unless you're in deferral. Then it's a 5% annual interest that accrues. So
it seems backwards that you would pay the most current first.
it does, and not a lot of people know that. They think that they should pay the old ones first, but that is something that our office is very good about directing people, because, and it seems a little oxymoron that to have people not pay our fees, but that's the right thing to do, and as your representative, it's a proper thing to do. So that's always our direction, is pay the current years first. And then in regards to, I guess, in July 1st, when that fee hits, that's when the law allows our law firm to receive the current year taxes. So the 2021s that just became delinquent this year in February will be turned over to us in July 1st, and then we will begin collections on your current year taxes. So, and of course, we'll send out 3 mailings between July and September, hoping to get people in to pay those amounts. There are a few exceptions. If on the current years, we're not allowed to collect on those until July 1st unless there's older years. If there are older years, the law does make an exception, allow us to include the current years if there is litigation. So that is one of the exceptions. I've been your attorney for about 3 years. I've been in the industry for 8. So love it here in East Texas. My office is in Lufkin. Also have a remote office in Livingston, and I have a Huntington address, but I live closer to Zavala. So I'm definitely local, and I love being here. So, and I want to help everyone that I can. I know that, especially right now with times, there's a lot of personal tragedies that are going on with either the economy, jobs, even the pandemic. So we're the first person, if you have a tax issue, to call, because we want to help. We want to let people know the remedies that are available to them. So, and with that,
Yeah. Is there anybody that has any questions for James?
So she contact you rather than just go to the tax office and make a payment?
Depends on how far behind you are, right?
Well, we typically encourage people to make their payments directly to the tax office. That way there's not any delay in them obtaining the money and so forth. And so, but yes, we definitely want to take some of that pressure off the tax office. People can call us. So we're always helping people enter into payment agreements. So we have a great relationship with Ms. Cruz.
I see that you have a list of.
Yes, and I'm sorry. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. At the back of this is the top 20 accounts. I wanted to list these here, and there are notes in regards. This is a printout from our software, so there's some codes at the top of there that you probably would not be able to decipher. But we're working almost all these accounts, and 4 of the top 10 are in deferral. So it just kind of gives you a.
Is that what the DTR is?
Let me see. Oh, DTR is delinquent tax roll. But under codes, you'll see if you see an H code, that's a hold code for one reason or another. The QMD is quarterly payments, and I know that's not the most cipherable. These are really codes for within our own software, proprietary to our software, but this gives you the tags and notes that we do have on each of these accounts. And we did not redact the names for the purpose of this meeting either. So these
Right.
are.
How are they? Are they in what kind of order?
From top dollar down.
Oh, okay. It's hard to find something.
Yes, and you'll see that, and this is just the base amount. This does not include the penalties and interest. And this is only the amount due to the city. This does not include the county or any of the other taxing entities, emergency services and so forth. But
Well, we always appreciate you coming out, and I know if Jackie were here this evening,
Yes.
she has communicated with James on a regular basis.
yes, absolutely.
Because
She's-
for code enforcement reasons and to find out what the status of properties are, and she would be.
I was hoping to see her tonight, but I guess she's not here.
She ended up having an emergency surgery
no.
yesterday, I guess it was.
Yeah, another
And so,
one,
we were hoping that she would have been back by now, but she's dealing with health issues, and we're praying for her. And we appreciate you coming. She's actually the one that initiated, can James come out and talk to us? And she's not able to be here. But we'll make another time that you
Sure.
can come and we'll sit
And,
down.
and I'm in
talk.
the area, Mayor, all the time. So I feel I'd be more than welcome, more than happy to come back and give other workshops. If you want to talk about the tax sale process and struck off property process, there's a lot more to this industry than just the collections aspect. So, and I'm always happy to educate the public and of course our clients.
You say normally you get your addresses from the tax roll? Is that where the addresses
That's a
come
great
from?
question, yes, sir, and it makes it so our job is very challenging in that all we have is this roll right here is a
Right.
name and an address. We do not have driver's license numbers, birthdays. All we have is a name and an address, and so that's one reason we're the largest in the nation for this type of service, government debt collection. And so we have a lot of technology. We spend millions and millions annually. In fact, we have almost double the amount of IT staff that we do attorneys. So the skip tracing technology, we buy volumes of data on the very cheap because we buy so much of it. Skip tracing is a term used to locate individuals. And so yes, we're always looking for phone numbers. In fact, we even have our own copyright skip tracing technology that helps us search through utility bills, driver's license, and so forth. But
Because as what I do, we have the same issue in the standpoint, we mail something out, obviously it comes back because the address isn't any good. My question is, if we have some of these, can we come to you and get information? Is that public record or not, I guess?
so because we have access to these very powerful tools, if it's in the process of litigation to find individuals, absolutely, we can do those skip tracing. I can't search for my ex-wife, or I can't just search people. In fact, our competitors have even lost licenses to some of these databases. TLO is just one of those. It's the TransUnion database, and it's very, very expensive. But we have endless search capabilities, and that's one of the main databases that we use. So, yeah, absolutely. If you're trying to locate somebody and they're on this delinquent tax roll, we can be a help to you for sure.
Okay, thank you.
One other on that note, our technology is always searching. Also, we don't have to be in front of the computer typing in names. Our database is always automatically updating when there is a hit, if you will, on an individual. It'll update our records automatically, so when we pull up in our database, it'll show the different addresses. So
Wow.
it's very helpful.
Any other questions for James?
Thank you.
We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Appreciate it.
James,
Yes, ma'am.
let me give you this. And we'll talk later.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you.
Safe travels back today. Thank you.
And thank you for, safe travels and thank you for coming. Oh, next is Mayor's report. First of all, this week is Law Enforcement Appreciation Week, and we have our three of our deputies here, our marshals. I should say marshals, not deputies, because we have our city marshal and two deputy marshals here this evening with us, and we're really thrilled to have them. We thank you so much for your service. We do have under this cover a cake for you guys, and we're hoping that everybody will stay and have some coffee and cake and celebrate them with us. We did a proclamation at our last meeting, and we've had it on the front sign, and we do want you all to know how much we appreciate your service. And we actually have a new officer that we're going to be swearing in this evening, so that's a thrill to have some additional help here in Ivanhoe. I have been talking to you about this money that's coming through DebtCog. DebtCog was getting $161 million worth of Hurricane Harvey regional mitigation money. And they finally did what they call the mod. Well, they did the mod, but the mod is finally, which is a mode of distribution, method of distribution, I should say, and it's been approved by GLO. And I sent out an email to all the council members for you to look at the detail that they sent and they have on their website. We are earmarked to get $1,933,000. I found out about this on Monday. It was posted on their website yesterday, and I've sent it off to Jill and to Dawn. We need to get together and figure out projects, what kind of project we want to utilize this money for. It does have to be Harvey related, of course. There are certain stipulations, but we have to come up with an eligible project. The really cool thing is our COG is the first COG in the state to get their method of distribution approved. And so Lonnie Hunt, the head of DebtCog, has been telling us, make sure you get your projects as quickly as possible, because as they go in, the sooner they go in, the sooner we get a response. And since we're the first ones in the state, it's really, a great opportunity to be able to get the motion going quicker, or the process going quicker. So we will be getting together with Jill and Dawn to see what we can do. Of course, it'll go to infrastructure. I've had certain things I've been thinking about. I was thinking about putting a second lane on the dam here, the bridge. And then I saw that dam expansion was not a viable project, but I don't know. So there's things to investigate and see what we can do with this funding, but that's really wonderful. We're getting $2 million almost. That's great. And Tyler County altogether is getting about $14 million. There will be a public hearing on May 31st in Tyler County regarding the method of distribution, and that's held by DebtCog here in our nutrition center where you vote. And so if anybody wants to go to that meeting, it's at 6 o'clock, May 31st, at the nutrition center. I also applied for, there's DebtCog meetings every month, by the way. If any of the council members want to go with me, I always go, because there's so much funding that funnels through DebtCog. And you really have to be on top of what the opportunities are in order to be able to, qualify and get your applications in and do whatever you have to do. And that's a really good resource. I did apply for another grant. It's a Rural Economic Development Fund. And this is something put on by the Texas Department of Agriculture, and it's a new economic development program rooted in strategic planning for the community's economic development needs. I got this like on the 10th of May, and the deadline was the 16th. It was a very simple application. I went ahead and put our name in. If it works, okay, we can, we'll look at it. It's for a planning grant for economic development. And then if you get the grant, then they have an implementation grant of up to $1 million. And once the plan is created through that grant, then TDA will work with the applicant to develop and fund a non-competitive grant to implement one or more of the projects identified in the plan. That is really cool. So you don't only come up with a plan, they help you implement at least one part of that plan, and they guide you through it and give you the money for it. That's really cool. So anyway, I applied for that last week.
And who's that with?
That's TDA. Yeah. CD gave us a copy of the minutes of that public hearing about the planning grant that we did. It's on our agenda today. And I highlighted, it's on the table here. I highlighted that they put in there about streets. It said all streets need maintenance or to be replaced in 4 phases, ranging from $806,000 to $1,661,000 per year. I don't know how long I've been telling everybody how much it takes to maintain our roads. but there it is in writing. You know, it's like we are so extremely underfunded, and we are so very grateful for all the grants we've gotten, because with this other $2 million, we're almost at $22 million in grants. We are so blessed, and we're still underfunded. But you know, this really points it out when you're looking at that comprehensive plan in the summary. Okay, the other thing I did was I went ahead and registered for this Build Effective City Council Relationships webinar. And I'm going to pass out copies of this, and I'm hoping that all of our city council members can be present. It's a webinar that we can all watch together. I think it'll be really helpful. It's about communication and working together in a cohesive way. Doesn't mean that we all agree all the time, because if we all agreed, then we wouldn't have any new ideas, right? But it's an effective communication, so I'd like all the council members to join me in that one. Okay, that's my report, and I would like to move on to the Supervisor of Dams report. So Rusty, you are on.
On the agenda. Already had it in the calendar.
Nobody responded.
Hopefully so. Yeah, it's on. City Council, Mayor. Last week, Tuesday and Wednesday, we had Chance Construction come out, and they repaired all the caulking that needed repairing on the Galahad spillway. And I let it sit for a couple of days and then closed the valve, and the level's still about the same as it was when I closed the valve. From the Galahad spillway, they went over to Charmaine and began doing that long road seam that's been needing it for quite some time. They weren't able to finish it that day, and so three of them came back the next day. And they worked till about 1 in the afternoon and ran out of material. To do the repairs, they grind it down a little bit so that they have a fresh surface to put the primer on, so that when you put the caulking on, it'll stay. A lot of those were deep gouges. They used a lot more material than I thought they would wind up using. The initial amount of caulking that had been purchased by Chance was enough to do all the Galahad stuff. There was the long road seam and some of the 80-foot long expansion joints. But I kind of surprised them a little bit with about 2-week notice of making sure they understood we got to do that caulking on Galahad. So some of the material went there. But I'll be trying to push Jimbo to get out here and finish the seam on the road and maybe do some of the expansion joints on the downstreams, or on the downstream side. And so that's all we need. That's all I have, other than could use some water. There's some promise of water this weekend.
It's funny, when you're trying to lower the lake, we got a bunch of rain. And now that the valve is closed, the rain has not come, but it will.
Yeah, week before last, we got about 1.75 inches, close to 2 inches, I guess, in some places. And it brought down some water, and so I thought Galahad would fill back up fairly quick. It shouldn't have run out that much water that quickly, but we did. So I'm waiting like everybody else. My level, I'm on Charmaine, and my level's going down too. In some mornings, it's more like a pond scum on the surface. It's a little bit of oily. It's look like soap bubbles in place where the fish or something is bounced, and it's really it needs flushing. They all need flushing to clear them up. So that's all I have.
Somebody have any questions? There was something I was going to ask you and I forgot. Oh well.
That's okay.
That's what happens, right? I appreciate
No
it,
comment.
Rusty. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Yes,
Rusty.
ma'am.
Oh, I know what I was going to ask you.
Uh-oh.
Okay. We had to replace the caulking on the spillway on Galahad.
Yes.
Were there any voids created
No.
through the, no?
No, I cut a piece of angle iron or rebar. It's close quarters. You got to crawl around your knees and to get underneath that spillway between the bridge and the spillway itself. It's close quarters. So it's difficult to get the caulking in, but they managed that. And it was dry enough to do it. But I went through with it, piece of rebar, trying to find voids and stuff, and I couldn't find anything you could call a void. I stuck in the original crack. I got a flat measuring stick I use for sheetrock, plywood, and that sort of thing. And I couldn't. It would go in slightly, but it would hit. It was hitting. It wasn't going anywhere.
Good.
Above that area, there was one of the blocks where we put concrete in, or flowable grout into that area before. So I think it's just there's nothing there to wash out.
Oh, right.
It would be easy to wash out, and we found it early enough. So
Thank
I don't
heavens
think
for
we have
that.
any damage.
Yeah. Thank you, Rusty.
Yes,
Any
ma'am.
other questions? Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, now it's time for the report by our city marshal, Marshal Riley.
Judge's report.
Oh, I'm sorry, Judge Rader isn't here. But that doesn't mean she didn't leave her report. I am so sorry, Terry. The total fines and court costs collected this month were $100, and that was retained by the city. Year-to-date, fines collected $6,145.20, and previous year was $5,453. And we have a Judith Haney, who is our associate judge right now, and she's been handling our the magistration. I don't know what's wrong with me. Well, I do. But anyway, she's been handling magistration for us, and she is resigning as of the 31st of May. Now, we have spoken with her about what we can do to get someone else to help us with magistration. We have a meeting coming up on the 31st with Tricia Ford, our Justice of the Peace and our precinct. And I've spoken even with our district judge about her being able to do that, and that can work. So we'll get together with her and see what agreement we can reach with her. Judith said that if there's any need, she would continue to do it until we make arrangements with someone. So that's the report from our municipal judge. Thank you. Now, Terry.
Good afternoon. This past April, we had 87 calls. 56 of them came through the marshal's office. 31 of them came through the sheriff's office. There was some other calls in there, and I'm not throwing Jackie under the bus, but when the secretary's not here, I don't do well with a computer. Because there's several officers that did work here at the city office, not necessarily police calls or marshal calls, but did code. John was here one day, and I think Jim Zachary did 4 calls for code. So some of those are not in there.
Right.
And last month, only 3 citations were wrote, and that was me on code violation. I ain't gonna say what, because John will kill me. Also, we were awarded the body camera grant for our office, and I'm waiting for her to get back in office so we can order those. The next question, I'll throw Skip under the bus. The car, the Tahoe, you did a spreadsheet, and I knew me and you talked about it, but
Yes, CD and I have talked about it too. The vehicle was taken into Morris Moore Chevrolet for a recall, which was
Yes.
a fan for the radiator.
yes.
And when you took it in, you asked me to look at the
Transmission.
transmission because it was hard shifting up and
Right.
down. They gave us a bid on fixing or they found a leak in the radiator too at that time, so it didn't make sense to replace the fan if the radiator was leaking, and that included the coolant for the transmission, which was contributing to the hard shifting. So they came up with a price of $5,116 just for the transmission, another $800 just for the radiator. That was $5,900 with a 12-month warranty. McGinnis, you took it to McGinnis, and he was going to replace the transmission and the radiator for $5,441 with a 48-month warranty. I contacted Thunderbolt Motors and Transmissions. Their price was $39.94 for the transmission and the radiator, and if we wanted to beef it up and make it heavy duty, that would be another $500 with a 36-month, 36,000-mile warranty. And then I also went to Matt's up here in Warren. They wanted $4,600 for the transmission and radiator, and that had a 36-month warranty. So what Terry's after is we need to make a decision on what we're going to do with this vehicle and who do we want to repair it. Thunderbolt, it's going to be, two people, 4 hours to get the vehicle there, 4 hours to get it back. It doesn't make sense.
And no offense, if it breaks down on the way there, a wrecker bill and everything.
Right. So, I think that we should use somebody close by, and it's not the cheapest price. It's the total cost of ownership that we need to look at and make a decision on who it's going to be. I like using trained technicians at the dealerships, but their pricing in this case is way off the map. So, I would suggest that we narrow it down to McGinnis or Matt's and go from there. But the
Okay.
decision needs to be made between
Right.
the two.
So, Terry,
You got a 3-year warranty and a 4-year warranty, so.
well, that's another thing to look into. What we were talking about prior to the meeting.
McGinney wanted, it was a 4-year warranty and Matt was.
36.
30.
I mean, it was a 48-month versus a 36-month
Right.
warranty, and that's $5,400 versus $4,600. But then you've got, you're buying insurance with the extra year's warranty on a vehicle that's high mileage.
Right, and
then we
rough
still
use.
need to take it in for the recall work,
Yes, sir.
to have the fan replaced once the repair is done to the radiator.
Right. Okay, does anybody want to make a motion as to what, Terry, what would you recommend?
I would rather use local, McGinney or
Oh, yeah.
Matt's.
Well, that-
I mean,
we're-
Yeah,
we're-
that's-
I'm
that's
just-
where we are with that
I'm
now.
just saying 4-year versus 3-year. I mean, they're high mileage vehicles, no offense to David, our roads and stuff like that. Yeah.
Did you have a comment, Stephen?
I said 4. I said 4 versus the 3.
Yeah.
Turn your hearing aid up. But it's 4 years, McGinney, 3 for Matt.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay, do I have a
That's
motion?
an
for-
$841 difference to
Right.
use McGinnis, to get the extra year.
Okay.
get me the line.
200.
180.
200,000 miles.
And how many miles do we hope to squeak out of this vehicle by the time
I
it's done?
have one that's close to 5.
So it's likely that we'll get 4 years
Yeah.
of service out of it.
And with DPS, in another year, we can go back and get 3 more Tahoes or vehicles, trucks, or whatever for the same price we did the last time. We've got,
So do we need the 4-year, the 48-month warranty, or are you saying the
no, I'm
36?
just saying if
That's
we
what- that's what I'm
we
getting at
wanna
is-
keep it up, and then the city could sell them later. You know what I'm saying? If you put them up for auction, Because we got those Tahoes for $1,000 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to auction right now, you're gonna pay 10. So,
But in 3 years, we can get into them for the same price that we got into them originally.
right.
So it sounds like we just need a 36-month warranty.
Yeah, all the money, man, that's above my pay grade.
I mean, is that what the math sounds like?
Yeah, Matt's is $841 less expensive than McGinnis, or I shouldn't, there's an $841 difference using Matt versus McGinnis. But with McGinnis, you get a 48-month warranty, and with Matt, you get a 36-month warranty. So it's, you know, is $800 worth an extra 12 months of warranty on a
can make a
new or
motion.
rebuilt transmission?
I'll make a motion that we use Matt's for the repairs.
I'll second that.
Yeah, that would be my question. Are we talking about a new transmission or a rebuilt one
They're certified rebuilt.
on all these prices?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I don't know about McGinnis. I have never had any work done by them, but I've had a lot of work done by Matt's, and he's always been good, and he stands up for his
Yep.
work. So I think that's $800. We're more than likely not going to have these vehicles 3 years from now.
Okay, I,
The second.
I did.
okay, so we have a motion and a second. Are there any more questions or discussion regarding this? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Aye.
Will be, well, yeah, you're opposed or?
Opposed.
Oh, okay.
Everything I researched on this vehicle, everything I researched on this vehicle, it should be brand new, not rebuilt transmission. That's why I'm opposed.
Do we have 3-4?
All right. Well, motion passes 3-4 and 1 against. Thank you. Oh, something very important. You have someone to introduce,
Also, I
don't you?
want to introduce the city council to Robert Crossman, our new deputy marshal. His background, I'll let him tell you about it. He's from Hardin County. Steve Drum put him through the ringer as far as TCO is concerned, his background investigation and everything. And I want to introduce him next and see if you can go ahead and swear him in.
Robert, would you like to come forward? This is Robert Bob Crossman. We're thrilled to have you here.
So how do we address you? As Robert or Bob, or Robert Bob, or Rob Bob?
For the swearing in, we'll do Robert.
Okay.
Bob is fine.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and do the swearing in. Would you kind of stand this way because the camera's right over here. We want you facing the camera. Okay, this is a statement of officer. And you just repeat after me. I, Robert Crossman, do solemnly swear that I have not directly or indirectly paid. Do solemnly swear or affirm.
I solemnly swear that I have not directly paid
Or indirectly paid.
or indirectly paid,
Offered,
offered,
promised to pay,
promised to pay,
contributed,
contributed,
or promised to contribute
promised to contribute
any money or thing of value,
any money or thing of value,
or promised any public office or employment
or promised any public office or employment
for the giving or withholding of a vote
for the giving or withholding of a vote
at which I was elected or as a, for which I was elected,
for which I was elected,
or as a reward to secure my appointment
or as a reward to secure my appointment
or confirmation,
or confirmation,
whichever the case may be.
whichever the case.
So help me God.
So help me God.
You didn't pay anybody to get this job?
No.
I was sure that you, okay. Now, this is the oath of office.
Okay.
In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas,
In the name and the authority of the state of Texas,
I, Robert Crossman,
I, Robert Crossman,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
execute the duties of the office of Deputy Marshal
I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of Deputy Marshal
of the City of Ivanhoe
of the City of Ivanhoe,
and will do the best of my ability to preserve,
and do the best of my ability to preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and of this state.
and the state of Texas.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Okay, you are sworn in, sir. And you get to sign in these two places. Yes, we are absolutely thrilled, blessed to have you here. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions or anything?
Give us the background if you don't mind.
Okay.
Why don't you come over here to the microphone so that we can hear you really well?
I'm originally from California.
Oh, we won't hold that.
I've been in Texas now since late 2013. Started off in corrections. And, okay. State of Texas Correctional Facility over in the Beaumont area. I was a sergeant for the Styles unit, which is one of the worst units. And I left to pursue my peace officers. Went to Jefferson County, worked there, and got my peace officers through Jefferson County Academy, and went to work at Sour Lake PD. Was there for just over 2 years. Then went briefly to Orange County and Vidor. Didn't like Vidor or the whole Orange County area. Went back to Hardin County, worked for Coots for just over a year. I was big into getting drunks off the road. In a period of 10 months, I got 9 DWIs in City of Coots. So mainly on 69 coming in. There's a lot coming through. Obviously, we don't work the highway here, so it's going to be a big sort of difference. But I feel that if there's impaired drivers out there, I'm going to be looking for them to get them off the road because I've seen them cause a lot of damage. I worked a double fatality in Sour Lake. The driver was impaired and killed a young mother. So that was difficult. But this is the only job I'm doing, so I'm not moonlighting any other place. So you'll get me for the full hours each week, and in events that come up, I'll be here. And I live just over in Silsbee, not too far, off 92. I look to try to move out this way a bit closer, though. So happy to be aboard, and I'm happy to serve.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor and city council, we're gonna be in our office finishing paperwork.
And there's cake, Terry, don't forget the cake.
Ma'am?
There's cake later, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Consider discussion action public works report, Mr. Marshall.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Good to see y'all again.
That's my line.
Doing things a little bit differently, but it's all good. Bear with me. If you have any questions about any of this, any information that you might need, sound off and I'll get it for you. Since May 3rd to today, May 19th, we've had 11 working days. We still have 6 more working days to go before we close out the month. So far, to date, we have completed and closed 12 work orders. That means we have 28 remaining. 5 of those are in progress. 23 are pending. We have installed 2 culverts so far this month. Installed 1 signpost. We have mowed and or trimmed brush on 23 different roadways here in the city. Some partial, some the complete roadway, just depending on what we were doing and where we were at. We have bladed and filled and top coated 9 separate roadways completely with a little over 115 tons of base material. That put the motor grader out for 49 hours. So over 11 days, that averages an operator on there about 4.5 hours per day. I would love to see 8, but at this time, it's a busy season. We have to do other things too before we get too far behind on those. But that's still a pretty good average. We have mowed and weed-eated 1 dam. We have had 3 tailgate safety meetings, which we do each Wednesday morning for about 5 to 15 minutes. And we have installed one merry-go-round.
And it looks great.
All we did was pick it up and put it on the spool. I mean,
Yeah, but you had the equipment to do it.
we did, and they were very, very grateful, and we were tickled to death to be able to do it, and I think we'll probably do it one more time, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's got one more to do.
Well, it looks great.
Good, I was thrilled we had the opportunity to do it. Southwest Water, doing a little bit different thing with them. In the past 11 days, that's 11 days, we have turned in 7 reported leaks. They have 4 repaired. Those 4 were repaired within 2 days of me notifying this new gentleman that we have out here. The other 3 are outstanding, and one of those just came in today. So actually, I would consider it 2 outstanding. So they're picking up their pace, doing a good job. They now have an office out here with a dump truck and a backhoe and a trailer and a crew, so they can jump on this stuff very, very quickly. We've had several conversations. He definitely understands that they're supposed to do a better job when they get through, and so far they have been really true to form. I'm thrilled to be working with them. It sounds like they're on the right track. The other thing that I want to bring up, the pellet mill. Some of you may know we used some material, some of their byproduct that worked exceptionally well on sand roads. Couldn't find a better place for it. It does stabilize them very well if you use our secret mixture. Not going to tell you, I'd have to do bodily harm if I did, but it works, and it works really, really well. We were having difficulty getting this material. They were changing bosses and supervisors a lot. I asked one of our councilmen if he could help me out, Mr. Blackstone, because I couldn't get past the front office. And he did whatever he does, and got a phone call from a lady that is in charge of that now, and she was telling me what a win-win situation it is for us and them, that if we follow these rules, supply is unlimited. That being said, that's a good thing. This stuff we put on several roads out here, and 2 years later, it still looks like the day we put it down. It's an amazing product when it's mixed correctly. Hopefully, to date, we have approximately $65,000 spent in base material that we use on these roads. If we have this supply, I would venture to say we can at least cut that number in half. I'm hoping more. Just depends on the availability of the area that we have. But we're excited about it. They're excited about it. The guys are excited about it. I do believe, like they said, it's a win-win for everybody.
Especially since the price it's free.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yep.
Keep that down. Other than that, if you'd like, I've got the maps where we've mowed, the streets where we've mowed. Same thing with the motor grader.
I'd like to know what street that you put that material down on, so we go take a look at it.
Parkview, I think.
Parkview.
I will get that for sure to you.
Okay.
Yeah, right off.
Right off of Sherwood North.
Yeah, Sherwood
Just
Forest
one
North.
block up. Yeah, I think it's Parkview, but I will verify that and give you a call and let you know.
And that was actually on a detour that was used pretty heavily for a while.
Yeah, when we did that piece, it kept sliding off into the lake. Yeah, still looks great. Looks really, really good. But if y'all would like to see the maps at some point, or get a list of the roads we've been on, the roads we've mowed, it's a pretty impressive list so far. I'm really, really proud of the guys. It's taken them a little bit to get the hang of this mowing and so forth, but They are definitely wearing out that new bad boy mower just as quickly as they can. And it's working really, really well.
Well, and what's helped David is really getting everything organized. I'm really proud of him. He's doing an amazing job. Thank you, David.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah.
David, can I ask
Oh.
you a question? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
About the water line. I know they've been working on that on 27th Street for quite a while. Do you know the status or the update or anything on that?
No, but that's kind of a sore spot.
Oh.
No, with them, because I've
Right.
called several times. It's their contractor, and they pretty much just choose to work whenever they want to work.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, yeah.
I'm not real crazy about where they put the lines, between the ditch and the road edge. I don't understand that, because some places there's a driveway culvert, the line, and then the road edge. That could be a lot of headaches further down the road somewhere. But from what I've understood, whenever they want to show up, they come out and work. They've got a lot of other jobs going on.
And how did the project go on Doorwood? Didn't they bore underneath the road, and how did that go?
They did, and you can't even tell where they went.
Right.
I requested that if they would put a sleeve in, that way if they ever have to go back and do it again, you just simply pull the old line off, pull the new one in. There's no more boring. There was a leak on Galahad Loop right after you come off of Galahad Dam. They were going to have to bore under that, but with the new guy, I guess they got to looking and studying, and he called me later and said, problem solved. We don't need to bore. There's two lines, one on either side of the road, so we just clipped that one, and it's a dead line now. So they're working good with us. They really are. Anybody else?
Did you get the fire department culverts put in?
No, I talked to
They're not ready
Roland a
yet.
while back.
Well, I
and
hope
he
they don't
was-
have a fire.
He was going to let me know.
Oh, I spoke to Roland about that after it was approved, and he said that they weren't quite ready as far as, they didn't know where they wanted them exactly yet. So
Well, you can't
once
put it in if
once
you don't
they
know where you want
figure
it.
it out.
On this material, this 100 tons, is that base or asphalt or what?
It's they called it wrap.
Yeah, oh, okay,
It
okay.
was free, and
It was free?
it was free. They donated 100 tons of wrap to us.
Don't tell anybody
Who-
that. Don't brag
Who,
about
who,
that.
who is they?
That would be Gulf Coast.
Let me write this down. Okay.
Well, it took a little arm twisting.
I
but
bet, yeah,
no,
because
they were,
when we pay for the state, a ton of money.
it worked out well. I just kind of jokingly brought it up to him, and he said, we do a lot of work out here. We'll be happy to do that.
100 tons.
100 tons, which is already gone.
We need to keep that little bit of information close to the vest.
It,
Yeah, right.
I don't
It's
even know
it's
what
on
y'all-
YouTube.
I don't even know what y'all are talking about.
That's as
Sorry.
close to the.
it wasn't wrap material like we've had before, like the black, the dark gray.
Right.
This was more or less some of that mixed in with some really hard clay and some other materials, some rocks and so forth, but it is working fantastic for the application that we used it for.
Okay.
And will be strong and last for some time. So it's all good.
On this pellet plant materials, when you put that down and it doesn't rain, does it affect it any?
Not one bit.
Good. Okay. Thank
Not
you.
one bit. Not at all. When we get some in, we're fixing to put some out that we've had left over for a while. I'll let you know where it's at, and you can go out and take a look and see how easy it spreads, how fast it spreads, and it just works.
Thank you.
Okay?
Okay, the only other comment is about the fog seal that we're going to be putting on Chanticleer next week, the 26th, and we'll be closing it down from about, this is the recently paved portion of Chanticleer from Ivanhoe Drive over to Lakewood.
And this is routine maintenance.
Yes, routine maintenance.
That needs to be done.
Yeah, and it's only like 4 hours that at max that it'll be closed down. So we just to let everybody know. We've put it on Facebook. We're putting it on our sign, so everybody should be well aware. And it won't take long.
It's going to do about an hour's worth of sweeping, an hour to spray it, maybe, and an hour for it to dry. I just wanted to give that extra just in case.
Make sure it's good and dry before people drive on it.
Hopefully, we catch the weather right. I've been watching that, and it's going to be really close. and moisture content of the roadway has to be a good ways down. But we'll see. We'll keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best.
But the plan is the 26th right now.
26th,
That's
beginning
next
at-
Thursday.
Next Thursday at 9 a.m. till 1.
Yeah. We're waiting till 9 to start so that
Yeah.
the majority of the traffic is,
If you pull out there before the barricades are up, or if you go around them, please don't call and ask me, who do you see to get this stuff off your car? Because that's exactly what will happen. Okay.
not a pretty sight.
Hey, what about this purchase of a 2019 service?
Oh,
Well,
that is, that we can just skip.
Okay.
We were looking at a vehicle that was for sale, and we went ahead and put it on the agenda to see if everything worked,
Right.
then we would have introduced it, but
just say the deal went bad.
yeah,
And we're still looking.
yep.
Okay.
Okay? Good deal.
Thank you,
y'all.
David, we appreciate you. Report on monthly code enforcement activity. Jackie, of course, is not here. John, did you want to say anything, or we just?
We're just working on one case at a time.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, I have gone out, with Jackie being out, I have still gone out taking pictures, and so we can follow up on cases, some back within the last 3 to 4 months, so.
Well, thank you, John. Consider for discussion action, planning and zoning commission recommendations. You're back on, John.
Okay, I was asked to look into a law firm that could possibly look at our ordinances, not all of them, maybe a handful, to make sure that they were legal and could hold up in court. Nothing against Brad, he does a great job looking over our ordinances, but it may be something that he would also recommend us having. Now, with that being said, I think each one of y'all was given a copy of this. I also have a voicemail. Can I play that? Be all right? Play that voicemail I received from him?
Sure.
Okay.
Put your phone by it, or your microphone
Yeah.
by it.
Good afternoon, Mr. Craven. My name is Alan Borquez with the Borquez Law Firm in Austin, Texas, and I received a message that you had contacted us inquiring about some legal services. Our firm is based in Austin, and we help cities statewide, either as city attorney or as special counsel. So occasionally we do special projects. I understand that you've worked with Franklin Legal in the past. I'm well familiar with them. Many of my clients use Franklin Legal Publishing, and actually Kirk Franklin and I went to law school together. And so we are very well acquainted and have many clients in common. I'll be around the office tomorrow, so I'll give you a call again in the morning. I'll leave myself a note here to call you when I'm back in the office so I can learn a little bit about what you're looking for and what kind of projects you have in mind. I understand from the message that you need some help with some ordinances, and we certainly do a lot of that. Our firm has been in business for 20 years, and I've been doing this one thing for a living for about 26 years, and we've got 24 lawyers at the firm who specialize in different things, but we all serve cities. And so, sorry for leaving you a long message, but I'm sure you're trying to put things together soon, and so I wanted to visit with you. I see an email, and so I'll also send you a note that way. Thank you, and I hope you have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
Okay, with that being said, we did speak, and he did forward to me, and I forwarded this out to everybody. And the way they do things is we would give them, let's say, 4 or 5 ordinances. And we would say, we want you to do this to our ordinances. At that time, he would come back and say what the cost would be. He would not do anything. He would not, price or quote us anything until we came back to him and said, we want this done to the ordinance. So it may just be, a little tweaking here. It may be rewriting, but whatever it is, he would need to know what he needed to do with his law firm, and then at that time, he would quote us a price of what it would cost. Any questions?
I thought we had a law firm already that does our ordinances.
Well, ordinances are through Franklin Legal.
Right.
And I spoke to them. They do not have a legal department. That's why I went to these people. For Kathy got with TML, and they recommended to use these people. Franklin Legal, believe it or not, does not do the legal side of your ordinances. They do the codification. They do not do the legal.
Will they upgrade our ordinances, don't they, on the net, on the web?
They simply publish them.
Yeah.
They, what we pass, they format and publish.
Okay, but what we're looking at is the legal issue.
They don't change
Okay.
the structure, the wording. They don't touch any of that.
Okay, thank you.
So you said that we would contact them with the changes we want. Are we not using them as a resource for guidance and interpretation of whether our ordinances are sound or not?
You talking about Franklin?
Yeah, no, just borrow what's.
These people.
Yes.
We are not using them yet, no.
No,
I'm
but I
sorry.
mean, you had said that they wouldn't charge us, they would come in and make changes that we suggest, but, I mean, if we're paying them for advice, shouldn't we be getting advice from them rather than telling them what to do? What
Well,
we
maybe I
want?
meant-
Does that make sense?
No, I think what Jen is saying is, once they've established the ordinance, or some of the problems with our ordinances is the verbiage.
Sure.
It's not enforceable the way it's written. And so the idea in the ordinance, it's okay, but it's like you send it to somebody to make sure that the verbiage is correct so that it can be enforceable.
Right, and what brought this about
Yeah,
also was.
that's not the way it came out, though.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What brought this about was, working with Jackie as well as Judge Rader, and having issues with some of our ordinances and being able to enforce them through a court. Anything else? Okay.
Okay, was there anything else in your report?
No.
Well, I have one question about that. If Judge Rader says, okay, we can't enforce this ordinance needs to be revised, we couldn't revise it ourselves?
Or delete it.
Or delete it, yeah. Or change it, whatever.
Okay, Brad, comment.
I guess that's y'all's, I mean, there are a lot of conflicting and there are a lot of unenforceable. There's some, the way they were written, I mean, my understanding, we've only done a few major ordinances since I've been here. Most of these ordinances came about when the city was incorporated. And I think we kind of borrowed here and there. I think there was an attorney doing that. I don't know who it was. But what the current status of the ordinances are is a little bit, especially when we get into the zoning and some of the things, some may have some issues. Personally, this is the council's decision on this. I mean, if y'all want to go this route with this law firm, I'd like to talk to them, and we would need to identify, and we know kind of what the majority of our problem ordinances are. We could talk to them. I'm not going to try to hold out and say I'm more qualified for them. This is a small area of my practice. I'm more of what you would say your general practitioner. They're experts in this field. However, I can look at an ordinance and tell you if it's enforceable or not, and how I would rewrite it. But it's yeah, it's just, I think you would want to know what the cost of this is going to be.
Well, according to this letter, I mean, you're looking at $175 an hour plus. And if you're looking at all our ordinances and you have a bunch of them you need to look at, it's going to cost us a small fortune.
Yeah, we're not talking about all our ordinances. We're probably talking at the most, I would say probably 5. Wouldn't you, probably, I'm sorry, when I say a handful, that's probably what we're talking about. And some of those may just be tweaking a little bit, not rewriting.
Yeah.
Okay,
If I'm honest, I think the way we do ordinances, the process we go through to do ordinances needs to be a little bit different. The P&Z does that, and I've been to a P&Z meeting, and they do a really in-depth, good job of talking about that. But there's one council liaison there, then an ordinance is drafted, put here, and in the past, the proposed ordinance I see is normally days before a meeting. I feel like the bigger issue is just how we work through this versus needing a firm to come in and do this, is my personal opinion, and that's not me trying to advocate to do more work. These people are going to be infinitely more knowledgeable on, this than I, but I'm not going to sit here and say it's necessary.
Yeah, well, I would like to see us try to do it in-house if we can, because it's going to, I don't care 5 ordinances or how many, when you start looking at these things, we've done this for the last several years. Every time you start looking at these ordinances, more problems come up and just continually bills.
It's quicksand.
Yeah.
What if we considered a hybrid approach where the P&Z gets together the ordinances that are most in question, allows Brad a brief review, anything that Brad doesn't believe that he's just overwhelmingly qualified for, that he feels he should, would be better, placed with this other firm, we can send to them. It's not going to cost us anything for them to review it and give us a price on it, and then we can bump that back to Brad and say, hey, does this seem like a sensible number to do this? And we could take it from there.
I think that's a good idea, but I think when you send it to, we can establish a contract with this firm. They don't have an annual fee or anything. It doesn't cost anything unless they do the work.
Right.
But when you send them something, that's work. So if we send them an ordinance to look at, it's going to start costing us by the minute, 6 minutes at a time, I think,
yeah.
what they said.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but, I mean, I don't have any problem with that. We can establish this firm if we want to, our contract with this firm, because unless we use them, it's not going to cost us anything.
Right.
And I'm more than happy to work with them. I think we just need to identify our problem ordinances, see what, we can fix. I think we need to circulate that. We need to circulate those ordinances to council with plenty of notice. And it's going to take multiple meetings to work on those, since we only have, the one typical regular meeting a month. And we need to have deep discussion about those ordinances, the purposes behind why we're enacting them, so we can look through the pitfalls. Because, some of our ordinances we passed, I think the trucking was one that's kind of become up, but then it become, well, what was really the purpose behind that? We didn't have a good enough understanding of what I think we were trying to accomplish with that. So it's going to be a process. It's not going to be an overnight fix. We could turn off over our whole code of ordinances with them and, spend thousands of dollars letting them go through it and fixing the whole thing. But I think we can take a look at, there's P&Z knows pretty much what the ordinances that are causing problems, because code enforcement's talking to them. So I think we know that. We can identify those. I think a lot of them are reworkable, but I think it's just going to take a very coordinated effort to get that together. So, and the ones that we don't feel good about, I have no problem working with these people to try to get something that we feel like is going to work.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I've noticed with P&Z, for instance, we'll tell them, we don't look at this ordinance, we might want to change this or whatever. Well, when we get this back, it could be 16 pages, and we don't really understand what we're looking at. So I think, if we kind of tone it down with P and Z, so we get one ordinance at a time or one portion of an ordinance at a time, it would help us. It would help me, anyway.
With that being said, we have tackled the travel trailer ordinance. And when you start digging into that, like we said, it is all over the board.
That's right.
From
I understand.
over here to over here to over here. Now, I will say that Valerie and Jeff recently have done a great job trying to condense this to make it more understandable for us and the average person
Yeah,
out
well,
there.
I don't have any fault with what the PNC's doing. I'm just saying that when it gets to us, it's too convoluted sometimes because we don't understand totally what we're trying to do, like on the trucks. But that's just a communication problem. Anyway. And it might be that, after Brad looks at it, we might need to, like the trailers, that may be something we have to have a little bit more input into.
I think I think we need to add another layer into our ordinance review process, whether that's passing a new ordinance or reviewing an old ordinance. I'd like to have a chance to, work it up the way I'd like to see it written, and then send it back to P and Z. So if there's questions, I can then answer those. Then when it comes to council, there's more issues have been fleshed out.
Yeah.
Prior to that. So, so we just need to, it's just going to be a slower process in doing this, but if it gets it right, then ultimately it saves time in the long run.
So you're saying that you would take it first and rewrite it?
I think we can identify what our problem ordinances are. I'm very careful, when the city asks me to do something, I'm going to do what the city asked me to do, but I don't want to go bill the city unless it's something the city asks me to do and needs me to do. There's definitely a need to do this. So if the city wants me to do that, I'm happy to look at the ordinances that we need to do, identify, try to do that. If I feel like, look, if I can send these 5 ordinances off to this firm, and I'd be glad to talk to them and kind of figure out their structure and see where they could help us. They're not going to charge us for a consultation or anything, is my understanding. I may see and go to council and say, hey, look, I think it's more efficient for me to send this group of ordinances here, but we can work on these. We'll just have to get into it and see.
Does that work for you?
Yeah, that's fine. No, I have no problem with that.
Okay.
And I agree with the extra layer of looking over it from you to back to us and.
Well, it's like Brad said, he can tell you if an ordinance is enforceable or not.
Right.
So I think that would be.
Because ultimately, I'm the one who, in most cases, if it's a citation or something's written on those, I'm the one who's in the courtroom handling it. So I know what evidence is going to be shown to enforce this ordinance, so I know how I'd like to see it written.
Okay.
You gonna make a motion? Do we need to make a motion to deal with this law firm?
I don't think we're at a point where we need to make a motion to enter into any agreement with them.
Well, let Brad talk to him and figure out what we need
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, where is the process with the travel trailer ordinance that they were working on? I mean, it looked like they really did a great job on that. Has it been sent to Brad for review?
I don't think so, no. I did send a non-conforming ordinances to Brad to take a look at.
Right.
But in the standpoint of this one, no, we haven't sent that to him yet.
Because I think that once P and Z has done that, and I think they did a phenomenal job. I would think that the way it's written is really, because I was in that meeting. I would think the next step is to send it to Brad for review to make sure that if there are any corrections that need to be made in verbiage or anything like that to, like we said, the final review to make sure that it is enforceable the way it's written, so.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, so you
Before it's
just,
presented to us, we should have it reviewed by.
Oh, for sure.
yeah, well, the trailer ordinance is a big problem because of different areas you can and you can't, and some you camp and some you can't. It's just confusing to start with, so
Right.
that one is that's always gonna be a problem, I think, no matter what we do, but, from what I saw with it, I'm just confused about where you can and where you can't, because I don't know, it says section 2 or whatever, I don't know where these areas or the boundaries of these things are. I should know
Right.
after all this time, but I don't.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't have anything to do with the enforcement of it. It's just confusion on part of people, I
Right,
think.
and I totally agree, and we found it, believe it or not, we found it confusing to us.
Yeah,
And it was confusing to us when I say myself and the P and Z, then it's obviously gonna be confusing to the average person out there.
that's right.
So that's why when, but the only reason I did not send that one to Brad is because at the last meeting, we did not basically vote on me doing that. We did vote on me sending the non-conforming, so that's, but not to say at our next meeting, it won't be voted on to do that.
Right, okay.
Okay, super. That was just my question. Thank you. I don't think there's anything that we need to make a motion on, so can we move, are you finished, John?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Number 10, consider, wait, where are we? Yeah. Consider for discussion and action resolution number 2022-7R accepting the City of Ivanhoe 2022 to 32 comprehensive plan. How many of you have studied this comprehensive plan in depth?
I have looked at it.
Okay, John has looked at it, and I know that none of us have
I've seen it
really-
on your desk.
Yeah, did you study it as you looked at it?
Yeah.
Because more and more, I'm being told how important this comprehensive plan is.
Yeah.
And so I'm suggesting that we get together and do a workshop and just go over the thing. There are copious maps and charts and whatever. And I'm thinking if we got together in here and we used our projector and got the different things up there and talked about, and went through it, I think it would really behoove us to do that. And so I'm asking if we can set a date to plan a workshop.
I have a question about it, though. If this comprehensive plan, if it lays out a roadmap with dates and the likes, does that commit us to hard dates?
No, but if we don't have a comprehensive plan and we go and seek funding,
Yes.
they say, well, where is that in your comprehensive plan? If it's in your comprehensive plan, they say, oh, well, we can help you out with that.
So, okay.
It's getting money. So, but it doesn't mean that we have to do that. If we don't have the money, some of the things you can't do. But if you have it in your plan, you can seek funding to be able to do
Yeah,
it.
I get it. I get it.
Okay.
Yeah, and the other thing I found is that there is a difference between a goal and an objective in a comprehensive plan. So we need to look at that also, but.
And some of the findings were really eye-opening. So, they did go up and down every street and assessed every structure, whether it's, they graded whether they were, with the condition of the structures, whether they're livable or not. And a lot of the ones that they considered that really were, not livable were being lived in. So it really opens your eyes to some of the situation that we have here. Anyway, so what works for you guys as far as the time? Would we like to do it on a Saturday where we can sit down and, I know that people don't want to give up their weekends, but, we could get together in an evening if we're willing to just take that time.
How much time are we looking to allot to this?
I have no idea how long it would take, David.
I don't know that we're going to get through this in a single sitting.
Well, it may not, and we can.
Absolutely not, no.
Absolutely not. Okay, so this is a process. And they're waiting for us to pass a resolution and give them a check. So, and we've had this on our desk for a while.
How much is it?
Huh?
How much is it?
Our portion is what,
$3,500.
$3,500? It was a grant, so the whole process.
10%.
Yeah, it was 10%, so.
A
But,
heck of a deal based on the size of the
yeah.
file.
Right, right. So let's go ahead and initially, would you prefer an evening meeting? Our typical Thursday evening?
Whatever Mr. Harrington wants is fine with me.
7 a.m.
Well, you know, Mr. Harrington has,
That bus, huh?
I'm going to defer to Mr. Blackstone's schedule.
okay, a little
Like
back
a
and
tennis
forth.
game.
Who's on first?
I'm open.
Well, usually we meet on Thursday evenings. Does Thursday evening work for everybody as far as?
Would a Saturday morning work for the rest of council?
It works for me.
It does for me as well, if you bring breakfast.
It's a lot more leisurely. People aren't haggard and worn out from the day.
Well, that's the thing. By the time it's evening, we all want to get home. You know, so
Yeah.
that's why I suggested a weekend Saturday.
Saturday morning's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
As long as it's fine with you.
Oh. Do we want to start this Saturday, or we wait until? Yeah.
This doesn't have to be posted as a open meetings thing, does it? Or is it a workshop? It does
It's
have
still-
to be.
oh, that's
so
right.
we'd
So we
still
can't
have
do
to.
this Saturday.
No, we still have
Can't do
to
this Saturday.
put out
We-
an agenda
And it
and
can't be
publish
that-
it.
it can't be
Well,
the
I haven't even
28th
looked
either.
at this, so I don't think 21st is too soon.
Yeah, it's too soon. And the 20th, and the following is Memorial Day, and there's a fish fry in here.
Looks like June 4th is the soonest. Yeah, June 4th is first.
Okay. What time? What start time?
6.
9, 10? Huh? 6 o'clock in the
Mr.
morning?
Harrington?
8.
8?
Get at it early.
Yeah.
All right. You are going to be fresh. Do you want donuts?
8 to 10, kolache.
Kolaches. Okay. All right. 8 a.m. Okay.
It would be nice if we could stick to a hard quit time.
10 o'clock.
Yeah.
8 to 10?
Yes, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
As long as Mr. Harrington is.
Okay. Are you both in agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, then we can do it.
We concur.
Huh? Okay. Consider discussion action GLO MIT grant, 11.5 million in property acquisition. Actually, I was hoping to have some specific meets and bounds. Oh, we forget to check our, the community center is,
Next Saturday is
uh-oh. You got that. The community center is rented that day all day long.
How about Thursday evening?
Well, if we're only going to do 2 hours, maybe we could do it, at least the initial one on a Thursday evening.
Okay.
All right.
You know, like you say, we limit it to
Sure.
2
Yeah,
hours.
a hard stop.
Would it be
Because we
possible
can't-
to-
huh?
Would it be possible to move the time up in the evening so we could finish out earlier?
Hmm. I mean,
Sure,
Skip?
absolutely. Mr. Harrington?
Okay.
I can do as early as 4.
Okay. I can name that tune and
What Thursday are we looking at?
Okay, let's
The
back
second,
to calendar. Thank you for checking that, CD.
yeah.
It's easy to make plans without Okay, how about next Thursday, the 26th?
Nope, I've got something that evening, I can't be here.
Okay. How about the following one, which would be the 2nd?
Works for me.
Okay, we give the 2nd from 4 to 6. Okay.
Okay.
That works. Okay, thank you. And like I say, in this one, the number 11, I was hoping to have real specifics on the meets and bounds as far as the property acquisition for Lake Tristan, and I still haven't gotten it. I'm so sorry, but I'll let you know as soon as we do have it. Number 12, consider for discussion action fiscal year 2022 Corona local fiscal recovery funds budget. You know, when Pam was here, she said that we had a budget for each of our grant funds. And so CD actually put together a proposed budget for each of the ones that she said we need to have. The first one is the ARPA one. These are these little, you know, so what I'm asking is for us to adopt the proposed budget, ARPA budget that we have in front of us.
I make a motion that we adopt the proposed ARPA budget.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, are there questions about this?
What's the budget for? I mean, it doesn't have anything we're gonna buy.
Yeah, there's no expenses in it except for the administration cost.
Because we have no idea what the expenses are, but we do know what the administration costs are. We do know the amount of money that we'll be having in the fund. We haven't come up with any projects yet to spend that money on, but at least this is in place. We know
Yeah.
how much money is going to be there, and we know the actual expenses or the definite expenses we have, which is the administrative expense. Okay. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving right along to the next one, because we're going to go from budget to budget. The next one is the GLOM HMGP MIT budget. I'll tell you, this gets confusing. This is the $11.5 million grant, okay? And so if you'll notice that we have proposed, this is in the grant. These are the figures that are actually in the grant. The property acquisition was at $705,000. Now, that doesn't mean that that's exactly what's going to happen, but that was in the grant as it, yeah. And the construction cost and the engineering cost and the environmental cost and administration. So this is basically the budget that is based on the grant itself. So do I hear a motion to adopt this budget?
I should make that motion.
I second.
Okay, and you understand that during the process, things are gonna change. It never ends up exactly the way it is in,
Amending.
we've already had the first change order in one of the grants, so, hey, that's what happens. I have a motion second, do I have, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, on to the GLO supplemental. This is the $8 million grant, and again, these costs come directly from the grant application. So do I hear a motion to adopt this?
I make that motion.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, now, bond construction budget. Okay, this is a little more complicated, and CD has kind of broken this down after the expenses that we have incurred with the construction that we have done this year. Our balance right now is $393,000 to $654.09. He is listed from the the available funds and the expenditures and where we are right now. And are there any questions about this one? Okay, do I hear a motion to adopt this budget?
I make that motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. Thank you, gentlemen. Consider for discussion action financial report, CD.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Okay, y'all certainly have made, well, the outside auditor happy, whoever that might be, for the next go-round, since we'll be working with Davis Heineman and Company as our accounting firm instead of as our outside auditor in the future. But that's a big hurdle that we have gotten by, and so now the guidelines are there, and as the mayor pointed out, those budgets can be amended as needed, but that provides a framework that the accountants live and die on. Okay, David had stolen some of my thunder, Mr. Marshall, earlier, in regards to the contractor having delivered that 101.75 tons of wrap material to the city, and certainly do appreciate that. Just for our purposes, on what the auditors are going to be looking at, and they do, we base the current pricing on that donated material at about $5,000. Maybe higher, but that's where we have it estimated at. Okay, moving on to something that's not on the treasurer's report, but it's in regards to the comprehensive plan that was discussed earlier, and costs that may be incurred as a result of that. As part of the council's packet that I sent out was the legal Q&A that came from TML. It was actually published a while back, but it was refreshed when I consulted with TML. A comprehensive plan is a plan adopted by a city for the purpose of promoting sound development of a city, public health, safety, and welfare. The city may adopt a comprehensive plan as a long-range development of the city and may define the content and design of that plan, and it goes into some detail of what might be involved in that. But here is the important part of the whole equation. Zoning regulations must be adopted in accordance with the city's comprehensive plan and must be designed to lessen congestion in the streets, secure safety from fire, panic, and other dangers, promote health and general welfare, provide adequate light and air, prevent the overcrowding of land, avoid undue concentration of populations, or facilitate the adequate provision of transportation, water, sewers, schools, parks, and other public requirements. So that's the importance of that big document that the council is going to get to workshop through. So that's why, Councilman Harrington, when you ask about the time frame, it may be somewhat lengthy.
It was slightly rhetorical.
Back to the treasurer's report now. Ad valorem taxes were deposited on the 12th of the month for our April collections. $15,289.26 went to the general fund, and $3,704.27 went to the interest and sinking fund. That works out to a collection rate of 82.86%. Now, compared to April 2021 collections, which was $14,735.42 for the general, $2,741.33 for INS. You can see that there was an increase, but the April 2021 collection rate for the same time period, that is, was 84.7%. So we have more income, but the collection rate's lower. We also received delinquent tax payment for Ivanhoe North. That was that 1 year, 2010. That came in at $105.94 and leaves a calculated balance of $5,412.53 as of the end of April to clear the books on Ivanhoe North. Who knows how long that will be. As those delinquencies get paid, somebody buys property. As Mr. Guest had pointed out earlier, they do tax foreclosure sales and things move, and then maybe by the time I'm no longer here, we will no longer have Ivanhoe North on the books. Now, regarding the interest and sinking account with the April ad valorem payment, the balance is now just over $105,000, and that means we can cover the principal and interest payment of $103,487.50. That will be due in August on that $2 million bond issue. Our grant administrator verified on May the 6th that the city will be required to have a single audit for fiscal year 2022. We passed the threshold of $750,000 grant fund payouts after the first drawdown for their grant administration and engineering work on the $11.4 million GLO grant. On a side note to the payouts, since the funds are not sent to the city until the GLO reviews invoices and draw requests on at least 3 levels at the GLO side before they authorize the state comptroller to send the invoiced amount to the city. The city then has no more than 3 days to send payment to the vendor. I just wonder why the city cannot simply provide the information about what projects we need funded and then let the funding agency do the procurement of vendors, handle everything from that point. We wouldn't have to pay the additional cost for a single audit. Go figure. The state comptroller direct deposited $7,589, $7,583.92 in sales and use tax on the 13th of the month. That reflects purchases that occurred in March, reported to the state in April. Brings our total sales and use tax collection for fiscal year 2022 to $55,039. Comparison-wise, same period for last year, it was $52,416. Okay, let's see. We've gone through our ad valorems, we've gone through our general sales tax. Citizen State Bank has verified that all of our funds that are on deposit with them are actually covered either by the FDIC or by pledged assets, and there's actually an abundance of pledged assets, something like $309,306. So we can put enough money into our accounts at Citizen State Bank without having to worry about being over where it's not protected public funds. On that subject, because we use text class for putting our extra money into and get better rates, which by the way I see is now at 0.61 cents per hundred on their interest rate, so it's gone up from 0.21 last month. The general fund in the operating account at Citizen State Bank currently stands at $74,538. Then we have $373,324 over in text class general fund. So a total that the city can pull from is $447,862.96. So, and we will be drawing from the text class account as we get closer to the end of the city's fiscal year. The state comptroller trial date is set for May the 22nd and June the 13th in regards to the sourcing rule for internet orders, and we're looking to see what happens with that. Of course, the folks in Grapevine and Round Rock or some of those other places where they have Amazon warehouses, they're saying, no, we want to keep our sales tax, whereas the city of Ivanhoe says, no, where it is it's brought to and delivered, that's where the sales tax is due.
Yep.
So,
and that was what the legislation actually was, but now they're protesting it.
Yep, exactly. Okay,
So
the rest of, I'm sorry.
Just a quick question with regard to the zip code. We're in 75979, but there's a -1704. Would that isolate or would it isolate Ivanhoe away from Woodville with that 4-digit code?
That is the intent, yes, sir. to bring, and we provided the state comptroller with a list of all our city streets, and at that time, the addresses, beginning and ending numbers for those streets. And that's what the state comptroller bases their reimbursements to the city on.
So the mailman said not to use those 4 digits, but we should, as a city, use those 4 digits on the tail end of our zip code?
We're eventually going to wind up getting to that point. Just like nowadays, we have to punch in 10 digits
Yeah.
to call. It'll happen with mailing
That should
as well.
make it easier to track sales tax.
Yes, sir. Although we don't want to write that extra 4 numbers in there. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, we need that sales tax. Because I don't know about you, but I order a lot online.
I do too.
Especially in rural areas
Exactly.
where we don't have all the shopping, opportunities.
And you spend over $25 or $35 at a vendor or service provider or whatever, then you don't get charged for shipping. Okay, the rest of the items, all those numbers I provided to you earlier, as soon as I got them from the accountant. I don't know if you have any questions in regards to those or whatever. Okay, I know it's after 8 o'clock, so that's my report.
Thank you, CD.
Thank you.
Do I hear a motion?
Good job.
Yeah, thank you very much. Do I hear a motion to approve the financial report?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, consider for discussion action update relating to Ontiveros legal proceeding. There was a letter in the packet, kind of explaining where they were with this. Did you see that?
We actually discussed that letter in the last
Oh, that's the
executive
same-
session.
okay.
It's the same letter.
Okay, so there is nothing really new to report anyway. All right, moving right along. Consider possession action, property acquisition. There is really nothing to look at this point. I don't think so. Are there any online questions? Okay. No communications from the audience, so any council comments? All right. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 8:02 PM. And let's call our officers back in here and just
No,
have a
do
little
not.
pat, give them a little pat on the back and give them a piece of cake. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Somebody brought in sandwiches for them in recognition of
that's
the
not
day,
right.
or,
Unless
Yeah,
you
we
ate
have sandwich
fast.
too. We have sandwiches too. Yeah, we can all have sandwiches. That's what they said. We brought it in for us.
Hey, man. Uh-huh. Between, I might just come over and pick you